Everyone should be keeping a personal archive in this day and age. We are living through such unprecedented times that to not keep an archive is to not keep your memory or legacy intact in the future. So I've created a list of things that you should be keeping in your personal archive and some tips on how to curate this archive. If you're new here, I'm Shay. I'm a PhD candidate at Harvard, as well as the founder of Analog Social. And today we are getting into the nitty gritty of how to keep your personal archive. Okay, so I have a list and I'm going to be looking down per usual. So you're probably wondering, what should I say? Well, we're going to go over a few categories of things that you should be saving. First is written communication. Second is any personal writing you've done. Third is images and videos. Fourth is audio. Fifth is official and life documents. Sixth is any memorabilia. And seven is any books and printed material. So let's get into every single category I just mentioned and why and what you should be saving. First category of things that you should be saving is written communication. So think of things like emails, but her emails. I'm sorry, I cannot avoid that meme. Y'all were so obsessed with her emails. Okay, let's keep going. So emails, text messages, SMS/iMessage, WhatsApp, Signal, Telegrams. Think about Facebook Messenger, Instagram DMs, and other direct messages. Usually these are things that you can just like screenshot, especially if they're really important conversations that you want to save. And also think about your social media posts. So I have downloaded my Twitter archive before it even became X because I wanted to have that archive of everything that I've ever written on that platform before I deleted my account. And I wrote some fire tweets. If y'all follow me back in the day, I was Little Miss Yapper on Twitter. So I made sure I saved all of those. Same thing with like Instagram, TikTok, like just save an archive of all of your genius and also intellectual property so that you have it for generations to come. The next category of things that you should be keeping in your archive is personal writing. Please, guys, tell me you're keeping your journal. Comment below and tell me if you're journaling or keeping a journal or just somewhere where you're keeping your thoughts. It is so important. I have journaled for such a long time. I have notebooks filled with my daily notes and my daily to-do lists and just daily thoughts that I'm having. It's so important to keep a journal just to make sure that you're processing all the information that's constantly running through your brain and your mind and that you have somewhere where you can put down your own creative way of thinking onto paper. Because you have such a unique mind, you have such a beautiful mind, and one day people are going to want to study your mind, even if it's just your descendants. Trust me, it's important to keep these things. Also, I want you to think about your notes apps. Think about Apple Notes, Evernote, Notion, Google Keep. I would say quarterly, make sure you're downloading and keeping an archive of all of those notes. You just never know what can happen to them. And then think about any essays, blog posts, newsletters, especially if you write content on Substack or Beehive or other things like that. Hit that download button. Comment below when you've hit that download button. Let's keep each other accountable and make sure that you're keeping those essays as well as any drafts that you have. Like, I know it's like on your Microsoft Word, it's like final. Okay, no, this time final draft, insert date. Okay, tomorrow's date. Save those drafts. Trust me, you are a phenomenal human being. I'm so intentional about curating the smartest, most thoughtful community here on the internet. And I know you guys have written some amazing things. So please make sure that you are saving it and downloading it. Even the drafts, people are going to want to see this in the future. Okay, next category of things is images and videos. So for all of your photos, make sure that you are saving copies of them, especially if there's any metadata attached to them. So if you have an iPhone, sorry, I don't have an Android, so I might have to look this up later. If you have an iPhone and you swipe up on a photo, you can see that usually the location is tagged, the date is tagged, and then any notes that you put on your photo. So personally, I put certain notes when I'm going to like art galleries and I'll write down the caption of whatever painting or sculpture that I have photographed so that I remember a specific note or thought I had about it and just make sure I can cite it properly in the future. I think about any videos, home recordings, just like nice stuff that you have on your phone. Just keep multiple copies of those videos, even the ones that you've forgotten about. And it's also nice to just, once again, swipe up if you're on an iPhone and write down notes or memories about when the video was taken. Anything that's not in the metadata, make sure you're capturing that. And once again, think about screenshots. So there's certain things like earlier I talked about, like keeping certain DMs or really nice messages, just screenshot it. Like, especially when I have like a celebrity or like a famous person, or even just like my favorite writer send me a DM or a comment. I'm like, screenshot, I need to keep that for the future because I am fangirling. Like, those are things you're going to want to remember. Okay, next category of stuff is audio. I am a certified introverted yapper. So I yap a lot and I have so many voice notes that I have sent on WhatsApp, on my newsletter. I've sent voice notes for everything on my podcast. So I keep all those copies because, yeah, even my intonation and the way I talk changes over time. And that's just going to be something so beautiful to see and to hopefully analyze by future historians. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so keep any nice voicemails. So, like, for example, I have a voicemail from Elizabeth Warren when she called me during the Iowa caucuses. And it was just such a nice, heartwarming voice note. She's amazing. So that's something like I keep, for example. And then, yeah, any interviews, talks, lectures that you do, like, especially if you do a lot of public speaking like I do, just make sure you're keeping copies of your talks and anything that you're lecturing about. Okay. So official life documents that you should be keeping. And this isn't just about now. This is like in the future. So that's why I'm making this video so that you can repeatedly come back to it and make sure that you're keeping certain documents as they come up. Like some of these things you may not even have right now, but it's going to be really important. Okay, next up. So any school records, so if you have any transcripts, diplomas, awards that you won, like in my childhood home, I have like almost every single award I won as a kid, like neatly stacked and labeled and everything like that. Cause like my parents are just amazing like that. So yeah, just keep track of all of those things, either for yourself or for your current kids or future kids. Okay. Think about any like work documents, just keep scans or copies of like resumes, cover letters. Like when I remember looking at my first resume out of college and I was like, oh my gosh, I thought I was the hot stuff. Oh my gosh. Any big projects that you did at work, make sure you keep a copy of that as well. Keep evidence of your genius, is what I say. Any financial documents, so like major receipts, tax documents, big purchases that you made, especially any wills or deeds. This is why journaling is very important too. Like, God forbid you were to pass away suddenly, like your journals and stuff like that can be really useful to figure out what your will or your life or how the rest of your assets should be distributed or used or spent. So all very important stuff. Keep any medical records, reports, vaccinations, hospital visits, things of that sort. So once again, God forbid something's to happen to you, this type of archive is so important so people can like literally piece your life back together and have a coherent story about like what happened and things of that sort. So keep all of those stuff. Keep copies. Okay, next is memorabilia. So I always say like tickets and programs. So think about concerts, plays, graduation ceremonies, stuff like that. I still have my college graduation ceremony booklet. I have a copy of that because I introduced the class day speaker at the University of Chicago, which you can find on YouTube. It's not that hard to find. And I introduced Valerie Jarrett, and I have like a signed copy of my class day like pamphlet thing. So I that's very sentimental to me. So I have a digital copy as well as a physical copy. Okay, so any cards or letters. I have such an amazing friend group my entire life. So we have so many handwritten birthday cards, notes, letters, and things of that sort that are just so like nice for me to keep. So keep that in mind. And then any clippings and flyers that you really like. So if you went to like a really nice event or even like a protest or you like wrote something that you used in public, like that can be a really great thing to keep. Finally, books and printed matter. So keep any of your physical books, especially if you have any like fancy notes in them or you wrote in them or you've like annotated them. Keep those books. They're going to be so important. I love reading well-read books. And that means books that people have personalized and have just jotted their own notes and thoughts in. Like that, chef's kiss. It's amazing. Please keep those. Any family recipe books and cookbooks, even that small little sheet or napkin that your grandmama wrote estimations for for her favorite recipe. Keep those, scan those. That is so important. And I should have said this for the audio section. I have a lot of audio recordings of my parents, my grandma. So stuff like that is so important to keep and I have a great video on how to conduct oral history interviews so that you can just Make sure that they're talking naturally and they're remembering naturally and you're capturing as much information and memories as possible. So I will link that video in the description box below. So make sure you check that out. Okay. And finally, other printed matter. So let's see, any pamphlet, vines, newsletters, anything like that, any physical material. Just make sure you're keeping like literally all of those things. So that's a really long list, but hopefully it's helpful. Comment below and let me know what you're keeping, what questions you have, what you're thinking in terms of like capturing certain memories or stories you want to tell. And finally, comment below and let me know how you want to be remembered. This is so key. So, one last final thing that I will say is because people are like, okay, what should I keep? What should I not keep? I'm not telling you to hoard, I'm telling you to intentionally archive. Find what sparks joy, i.e., Maria Kondo. No, but seriously, figure out the story you want to tell now and curate accordingly. You don't have to keep every single thing. Like if you had a concert that you really just did not enjoy, you don't have to keep that VIP pass or whatever it is. Like you choose what you want to keep. Because I always say if it tells a story about your life, your relationships, or your ideas, it's better to just say that. Even really small things may matter later down the line. Okay, so one final rule of thumb when it comes to crafting your personal archive, you should keep 2 to 3 copies of each of the things that I've listed in this video. So if it's a physical material, then you should create a scanned copy that you have saved on your laptop. And then you should have a cloud backed copy, which you can keep in whatever your preferred cloud service is. And then you back up to an external hard drive or whatever extra storage space that you want to keep it in so that you have 3 different places that all of this material is saved in. So I personally use Adobe Scan to scan all of my physical materials and then I'll like title it and label it. I'm happy to do another video about that. Comment below if you want to know how I scan and label and digitize all of the physical stuff that I was talking about. But yeah, I hope this video is super helpful. Once again, comment below. Let me know how you want to be remembered. Let me know what questions you have. It is always a pleasure. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. My whole goal and desire is to help you stay human. Keep your human memories, keep your human stories, stay your most unique, creative, intellectual, critically thinking self. So let's make sure that you keep your memory and legacy alive long after you're gone. Always a pleasure, and I'll see you in the next video.